Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So, tearing out a fun and exciting episode for you guys this evening, where we're taking a look at the recently released English translation of Arcana Strikes for the Sega Saturn, and we're doing it on Mr. FPGA because why not? And if you're not familiar with this game, it is basically an RPG card battling game that was 100% in Japanese up until like a week ago. This was translated over by Mezuda Team, and if that name sounds familiar, they've done a lot of awesome translations in the past, but honestly, this one might be my new favorite because if you try to play this game, even poke through it without understanding Japanese, you're going to get absolutely nowhere. The battles are dense, the menus are absolutely loaded with detail, and again, if you don't read or write Japanese and you can't actually understand kanji, you would get nowhere even with a walkthrough. But now today, it's 100% in English, and this game is straight up a hidden gem made by the same team that made Sakura Wars. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But honestly, this is just straight up gold from start to finish. I love translation efforts like this, especially in games that really are almost too dense to try to even navigate through if you don't understand. Sure, platformers like The Adventures of Little Ralph that just got translated are awesome, but you could play that game and get from start to finish without understanding the story. Here, with all of the different card mechanics and all of the different menus and attacks, if you don't understand what you're doing, you're never going to be able to beat the game, and that would be a bummer. But now, thanks to Mezuda Team, this is going to be 100% in English. The translation is spectacular. It runs on real Sega Saturn hardware. It runs via emulation. I tested it on MedDefend, and it also runs on Mr. FPGA in the work-in-progress Sega Saturn core, which is how, again, we're playing it here. And honestly, it is a 10 out of 10 effort and 10 out of 10 performance on the core as well. But you'll see here, the basic premise is it's basically a dungeon-crawling RPG, but the battles are done with cards. It is turn-based, but you're going to be building a deck and using that deck and the monsters and cards that you collect along the way to basically make progress. It kind of feels like Magic the Gathering crosses something like Pokemon, crosses something like an RPG in all of the best ways possible. And I would say as well, this game absolutely has some lush, beautiful 2D artwork and sprites, and just has a great soundtrack as well, which I'll let you listen to in a little bit. But the top note headline here is just how incredible the translation is, both from a conversational English standpoint as well as just a overall formatting standpoint. The fonts used, the kerning, its ability to fit in the text box and just seem like this is what it was supposed to be like in the first place, really makes this translation feel like an English release back in the day that you just didn't know existed versus a fan translation. And we have a petite draggy here and now, so we get to rename him. We'll pick something high fantasy so he knows he's in a fantasy game. We'll go with Ted on this one, and big thanks to Andy D for helping with the capture. I knew he loved his card battling game, so I asked him just to take a look at it for me and give me his opinion as well, and he decided that Dragon should be Ted, and I 1000% agree with the logic behind that. But as far as the actual script translation is concerned, it is so conversationally English. It gets all of the details and story beats from the Japanese script, but of course doesn't do a literal translation because a lot of times that doesn't make much sense whatsoever. And as we actually get into this first tutorial dungeon here, and I'll show you later on deeper into the game in just a moment, this is basically the core gameplay. You wander around dungeons, you find battles, you find cards to build your deck, you upgrade yourself and your monsters, and you just kind of move around from there. Definite big Pokemon vibes, definite big Monster Hunter vibes as far as some of that is concerned. It just works every single time you're in a battle. It is a ton of fun with that turn-based RPG mechanic, and because the cards have so much information on them, the battles have so many different menus, having this in English now just makes it a joy to play versus a chore to play back in the day. Because again, I get it, not every single game comes to North America in English, but there's just certain games that it doesn't matter how hard you try, trying to actually enjoy them while getting through them in Japanese just becomes an impossible prospect. And I would say this game is just 100% in that category of if you try to poke your way through, you would just give up pretty quickly. Here comes your first soundtrack sample of the battle music. I absolutely love it. 45 seconds, I'll come back and show you more about what this game's all about. But enjoy. If that's not just classic RPG turn-based battle music, I don't know what is, and that's because obviously, like I said earlier, this is made by the same developers that made Sakura Wars, so you know you're going to get an absolutely amazing soundtrack, you know you're going to get a great story, and you know you're going to get lush 2D visuals, because Sakura Wars, maybe not my favorite genre of game, but I will say the overall art style and music employed in those titles absolutely is incredible, and you're seeing the exact same effect come across here. As you get into a battle later on in the dungeon, you're going to see that both the main character as well as your opponent can summon in monsters from those cards, and you have different levels, you have different arcanas, you have so much density in the overall mechanics of these battles. It really does feel like a tabletop card game come to life in all of the best ways possible. But I am curious, leave me a comment down below and tell me, are you the type of person that plays these tabletop card games in real life, and do you play them in video game form? Because I will say, in video game form, definitely something that appeals to me, but in real life I've never played a single game of Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, or anything else. No judgment against it, I know people absolutely love it, it's just never been for me, but in video game form, for some strange reason, it is something that actually hits. And you'll see here throughout the fight against the thief here, I even love the attack animation, it's so much fun, and even looks like it's got some pseudo-transparencies going on, which in Sega Saturn is definitely impressive in its own right. This game isn't just incredible because it's in English now, it's just great because it's such a visual feast with so much flair, so many great sprites, sound effects, music bits, it just hits on every single level. Now, of course, if you're not into card battler games, there's going to be nothing here that probably convinces you that it should be a genre you get into. It's a very specific type of game for a very specific type of gamer, but if you've never tried one before, this would be a great starting point because it just has such an intriguing story, and now you can understand 100% of that story because it is in English, and that is always great from a preservation standpoint as well. Mezuda Team did something like this just so fans could enjoy one more Sega Saturn title, and it's one of those things that I always love to celebrate and talk about on the channel because we feel like, at least right now, we're in a renaissance when it comes to translation efforts. I've done so many different videos on new games being translated, Sega Gaga translations getting worked on as we speak, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple more coming soon, some that I may know are in progress and you don't know yet, that will just absolutely hit in every way, shape, or form, and that just excites me. These are games that I saw in magazines back in the day that I knew existed but never really spent much time with because I just knew I couldn't understand them. And now I'm going to sit down for a full playthrough in my spare time, which is absolutely minimal. It'll probably take me 6 months to beat this game, just so I can enjoy it. And as far as the translation is concerned on a technical aspect, I haven't seen a single misspelling, I haven't seen a single line break that would make the sentence hard to read out loud if you tried it. Every single bit of text is in the right place and makes perfect sense. And that is what you want to see out of a translation. Just perfect formatting so it really does feel like a retail product. I'm going to give you one more soundtrack sample of the actual overworld area because, again, this game has some absolutely beautiful tracks. It's got some great artwork, and now it has a full English translation, and that's something you definitely can't complain about. But here comes the second soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with more. Just a straight up 10 out of 10 soundtrack if you ask me, and just think about how much fun we've been having with all of these projects recently. There's so many groups out there making more fun for retro gaming fans. Somebody like me in my Discord and other groups, we love finding lost games and releasing them so everyone can enjoy them and they are preserved. Other groups like Mezuda Team are translating games over into full English so you can appreciate and enjoy a game that would have been impossible unless you spoke and read Japanese. There's other groups out there that are making FPGA core software emulators, updates to games, making them better than you ever remember before. It really does feel like this is just the height of retro gaming love and appreciation right now, and having Arcana Strikes in English just is the icing on the cake. And I know there's more fun to become this year, so I can't wait to talk more about this stuff. And again, even if you've never played a card battler game before, if this is a new genre, do you just give it like an hour or so? If you don't like it, honestly, you haven't lost anything other than that hour. Just spare it, and I'm sure you'll find something to love here. And if you do end up loving it, you're in for an absolutely epic adventure with tons of different fun cards, tons of different battle mechanics, and a really good story, great art, and a soundtrack as well. And that's always something that I love to see, because the Sega Saturn just absolutely is a 2D visual powerhouse, and this game absolutely takes advantage of all of the hardware on the Saturn again, because this is being tested on Mr. FPGA. If you're wondering if you can play it that way, you 100% can, because the core feels so mature right now. It's basically just a replacement Sega Saturn. But definitely check out Arcana Strikes. I will leave a link to the patch down below. You'll have to deal with the patching yourself. That's about all I can link to. But trust me, just give this game a shot. The story, the artwork, the soundtrack, the translation are all straight up 10 out of 10s. Unless you absolutely hate the genre, you're going to find a lot to love here. But we're done, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.